terrorists. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brenda Braxton. Those arrests show just how tight security on the border has become. Now, at the same time, police around the country are tightening security for New Year's Eve celebrations in New York, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. News Channel 8's Brooke Hart is in our nation's capital with the very latest. Brooke?
Brenda, just a few days to go now until the big night, as you know, and law enforcement officials are trying to reassure Americans they'll be safe. That's despite the arrests you mentioned last night on the U.S. border, and in many cities, extensive security precautions well underway.
In Blaine, Washington, more border arrests for allegedly illegal immigrants. U.S. officials tell NBC News the arrests are not terror-related, but they are one sign of law enforcement's heightened vigilance in advance of Y2K.
Just given the nature of the incident, somebody parking a vehicle on our side, walking across, raised some questions as to why that happened.
A search of the car by police and bomb-sniffing dogs turned up nothing suspicious. These border arrests and 3 others in the last 2 weeks come as U.S. cities prepare for, in some cases, massive millennium parties. In New York City, 2 million celebrants and the city will be guarded by 8,000 officers, double the usual New Year's force. All parked cars will be towed, all manhole covers sealed shut, all trash bins removed.
We have no specific information that anything is going to happen. We've been preparing for this for 3 years.
In Seattle, 60,000 people expected around the city's Space Needle celebration will all have to pass through a security checkpoint. And in Washington, D.C., a huge security force will patrol the mall, including 3,500 local police, plus federal law enforcement and the National Guard. Top government officials say they know of no terrorist plot, but insist preparation is the best deterrent.
I'm very wary of some of the threats out there, and obviously we remain concerned in a heightened state of security.
In order to ensure this New Year's will be a cause for celebration, not alarm.
As cities prepare their security forces, concerns about potential violence have all but overshadowed any computer worries. Top Y2K officials are confident any technical glitches, at least in the United States, will be minor. Live in Washington, I'm Brooke Hart. Brenda, back to you.
Brooke, why was there some confusion to begin with about the motives of the people arrested in Washington?
It is important to clear this up, Brenda. It did not come from United States officials. Actually, even as late as this morning, U.S. Border Patrol and Customs were not confirming that the arrests even happened. The information trickled over the border from Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who said that the 4 people had been arrested. Apparently one of those 4, all of them came from Pennsylvania. One of those 4 did have a record, and in his record, it accused him of potential terroristic acts, but it was in relation to a domestic violence case in his record and didn't have anything to do with any terrorist links or links to terrorist groups, but it was just that word in his record that provoked some alarm by Canadian authorities, who then gave some information to U.S. media.
In these times, you can understand how that could happen. Brooke Hart reporting live from Washington. Thank you very much. Well, police in the U.S. are now looking for the partner of the man arrested for trying to bring explosives into Port Angeles. This is the man, Abdulmajid Dahuman. Canadian police issued a warrant for him Saturday. The FBI interviewed 3 Horizon ticket agents in Bellingham, Washington. The feds think Dahuman flew from that city to Seattle, then to Las Vegas on December 17th. No word whether they think he's still there. Government negotiators from India are now meeting with the Islamic terrorists holding 161 people hostage on an Indian Airlines jet. Those people have been on the plane since Friday, when a handful of terrorists hijacked the plane on its way from Nepal to India. After a number of stops, the plane landed in Afghanistan, where it is right now. The terrorists have killed at least 1 passenger and threatened to kill more if Indian officials refuse to negotiate with them. International experts say the group's tactics don't really surprise them.
This group is known to be fairly Islamist. That means that they're extremely fundamental in their beliefs.
The terrorists are reportedly working for the release of a religious leader and several rebel soldiers. The state of Oregon has its Y2K team of experts ready to handle any questions or problems that could come with the flip of the calendar. Today, those experts are talking money. News Channel 8's Tom Fuller is live in our Salem Bureau with an update. Tom?
Yeah, Brenda, state of Oregon officials ramping up for the Y2K rollover this weekend, and Today, representatives from the Oregon Bankers Association, the Oregon Credit Union League, and all state institutions that deal with finances gathered here in this room, in fact, in front of the banner that you see behind me here, with one message: your money is safe. A survey of Oregon banks last week showed no unusual activity, no large numbers of consumers withdrawing funds. But just in case, the Federal Reserve has printed up extra money that's available to financial institutions. And also, just in case, the state payroll folks have printed up extra checks in case computers go down.
We are assuring those citizens that we are safely protecting their services so that they can have those services that they expect after the rollover without a hitch.
Barbara Jensen from the state Y2K office says between 500 and 600 extra state employees will be on duty this weekend, Saturday, to handle any problems that might arise. When all is said and done, Brenda, the state of Oregon will have spent somewhere around $100 million to address the Y2K Millennium Bug. Back to you.
Tom, thank you. A bad weekend in Hawaii got even worse for two Oregon State football players. They got stabbed hours after losing a game at the Oahu Bowl Saturday night. Charles O'Neill and Paul Luoma were stabbed outside a Waikiki fast food restaurant early Sunday. Luoma, number 94 in this file video, was treated and released, but O'Neill remains hospitalized.
From what I understand, if you can be fortunate in that respect, none of the major organs or the spine or anything like that were affected, so he'll be able to get through it, I think, okay, with no major injuries, which is going to take some time for the wound to heal.
Police say the players were out night clubbing when the attack took place. The rest of the team has returned home to Oregon. Well, you could hear the winds whipping across the area most of the weekend, and they roared loudest in the area along the gorge east of Portland. Now, those winds have died down just a little bit today, but they're still causing some headaches. News Channel 8's Walden Kirsch is live in Troutdale with the very latest. Walden?
Well, Brenda, as you know, Troutdale is often windy, summer and winter time, but after roughly a week of chilly wind, obviously it's beginning to wear a little bit thin. We do have some pictures to show you that we took earlier this morning. A number of apartment buildings, here you see one of them, have lost shingles in the wind, which was gusting to about 60 yesterday. Also, there has been some siding torn free. Obviously, folks in Gresham and Troutdale are ready for all of this wind to end.
I got like 2 layers of clothing on. I'm freezing.
Just really hard wind. I mean, it sounded like a freight train coming through, some of the gusts.
Back here with a live shot, folks, there you see a small private aircraft taking off from Troutdale Airport, but barely making any headway. Winds here holding steady at 40 miles an hour. Obviously not a particularly good time to fly. A couple other things we'd like to point out to you. PGE officials, the local utility, tell us that their number of customers suffering outages is down substantially from 13,000 over the weekend to about 200 today. They hope to have the rest of those customers back up at some point later today. Also, Brenda, don't neglect wind chill. Although the air temperature is about 40, with wind gusting to 40, that drops the wind chill, the way the air feels on your skin, to about 10 degrees. Brenda, back to you.
Get back in the live truck and get warm, Walden. Thank you for the update. Dave knows exactly how Walden feels. He lives over in Troutdale and joins us warm in the studio with an update on that blustery forecast.
And Brenda, that guy was right out in the Gresham area. It sounded like a freight train moving through the area throughout much of the weekend. And folks, those gusty east winds will continue for at least the next couple of days. Here's what's going on right now. The reason for those strong east winds, very simple. Air moves from higher pressure to lower pressure. And the barometer readings in the Dalles and in Astoria in the past hour. At the Dalles, 30.85. That was a barometer reading at 11 o'clock. In Astoria, 30.44. So you see that strong pressure difference, higher pressure to lower pressure.
At school, it's a good deal at 50 cents. And for kids who have no money, it's free. What it is food for the brain.
Students who eat breakfast have higher test scores, that they do achieve more in school than students who don't eat breakfast.
That's why the government is sponsoring a pilot program in selected schools nationwide. And if it yields higher test scores, school cafeterias around the country might someday be offering free breakfasts. Thank you. Studies have shown that breakfast is good for kids and adults because it nourishes the brain and steadies blood sugars. But the brain needs to be fed nutrients more than once a day if you want to stay alert and smart. The brain is one of the body's most active organs. It uses about 20% of the body's oxygen and requires the right nutrients more than once a day to stay alert.
Because how the body receives messages in the brain and sends messages require the level of these nutrients to be high in the cell membrane so that they operate on a high level.
Doctors say the brain hungers for the nutrients zinc and selenium, choline and folic acid. Deep green vegetables like broccoli and deep orange fruits like mango, along with whole grains, are good sources of these. And fish is high in another important noggin nutrient, omega-3 fatty acids. So are walnuts and flaxseed.
The translation is, that you're brighter, that you retain more information, your memory is strong.
And head online to check out more brain-boosting foods. Go to KGW.com, click on News Links, and look for the Health Surfing Report. Stay with us for another half hour of News Channel 8. Officials say 4 people arrested near Blaine, Washington are not terrorists. So what were they doing along the U.S. border? We'll have the latest. If you think it's windy in Portland, just head east. See if the gusts are strong enough to do more damage. High winds also worried NASA in about 8 minutes. Find out if tonight's shuttle landing is still a go.
New Year's Eve, when the ball drops on Times Square, the countdown is just beginning on News Channel 8. Celebration 2000, live from Pioneer Courthouse Square, with Tracy Berry, Joe Donman, and Matt Safino. Live music, live reports, and more. And when the clock strikes midnight, a fireworks display, a laser light show, and Portland's own Millennium Ball. Celebration 2000, sponsored by Sunset Imports. New Year's Eve, beginning at 9 on Northwest News Channel 8.
The Meyer & Frank biggest intimate apparel sale of the season is going on now. Buy any 2 bras or shapewear, get 2 free from the entire stock of Bally, Olga, Warner's, Maidenform, Vanity Fair, Barely There, and Flexies. Plus extra savings from Playtex and 25% off Calvin Klein, Jockey, Wonder Bra, and Liliette. Check your paper for extra savings bonus coupons. This is where it all starts. This is where it gets good. The Meyer & Frank biggest intimate apparel sale of the season.
Throughout the Northwest and around the clock, no one covers the news that affects your life like Northwest Cable News and Northwest News Channel 8, where the news comes first.
I've been around the block a few times, so when somebody says, "Hey, Frank, this is a great deal," I say, maybe, maybe not.
I remember Frank. When he called Secure Horizons, he was trying to make some sense out of his health plan options. I told him if you wanted straight answers, you should take a look at our free booklet, Healthcare Options for People with Medicare, the plain and simple facts.
So I said, maybe, maybe not.
He was a real skeptic.
I said, if I get your booklet, does that mean you want me to buy?
I told Frank, sure, we'd like you as a member, but only if you decide Secure Horizons is right for you.
If you are eligible for Medicare and looking at health plans, call toll-free for this booklet, plus our new health plan evaluation worksheet. It's a special new tool that helps simplify your different health plan options and lets you rate them on things like coverage, co-payments, and service. You'll also learn how, with Secure Horizons, you can get additional benefits and services that aren't covered by Original Medicare.
Yep, came just as she promised. She was right. It's just the facts. Helps me decide exactly what's right for me.
Look, that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Welcome back to News Channel 8. It's sunny and clear outside. In downtown Portland, currently 44 degrees. Federal officials now say the 4 people arrested at a border crossing yesterday in Blaine, Washington, do not have any terrorist connections. But as News Channel 8's Glenn Farley reports, the arrests do show just how much tighter the border has become because of fears of terrorism.
In total, there were 7 people picked up here, 2 of them children, the rest of them adults, all of them from Jordan. Peace Arch Park open to Americans and Canadians, but cross to the other side here without checking through customs and immigration, you could well be in trouble.
Peace Arch Park is an area that's real susceptible to this.
Smuggling of human beings trying to illegally enter the United States. There were 2,500 arrests in the past year in the 30 miles from Boundary Bay to the Cascades alone. Maudie Ayala works near here and sees people picked up all the time.
2 or 3 times a day people get picked up.
So it's pretty routine.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty routine around this area, at least by the park.
But last night, what started out as routine didn't stay that way. The Border Patrol says mid-afternoon, a man, woman, and child from Canada were caught walking out of the park to meet up with 2 other men, another woman, and a baby waiting for them in the U.S. All were taken into custody and are now in detention at the INS lockup in Seattle.
We feel at this time that they were probably coming over to join up with her husband, who was already here.
But several hours after being taken into custody, it was discovered that the man coming in from Canada had left his car behind. Suspecting a bomb, Canadian authorities checked the car for explosives. Nothing was found, but the border was closed for as long as 2 hours in one direction.
Burger, only at Carl's Jr.
Madonna's first movie since Evita in an ET World exclusive.